up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are having a great day. Before we even get into this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you can know every time I post and you will not miss a beat, okay? Don't forget to like, comment, and share to your friends and family. It helps me out a lot. Thank you. And also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at A Word from Jay. And also, don't forget that I have a new project coming out February 1st that I'm really excited about, and I'm excited to share it with you all. And let's just get right into this video. So as you see from the title, we are talking about depression and drugs, something that I feel like a lot of us might have encountered or struggled with before, if not right in the moment now. And I was just like, what better way than to make a video about it, just to discuss some of my personal experiences with depression and drugs, as well as how it can affect your life and if it's good or not. So, as we all know, depression hits people basically at any time of the day, and it's something that I'm just gonna let you know everybody gets at least once or twice or even however many times in their life. Just because you're going through life changes. Life is chaotic. Life is stressful. Life is overwhelming. Life is everything. So, with that being said, my personal experiences with depression probably started around, I feel like they started really bad maybe when I was just starting high school and getting more into the swing of things with just growing up. And maybe around the time that I lost my virginity. So that would be junior year. Yeah, about junior summer going into senior year. When I lost my virginity, I just feel like they hit hard then. My depression did, but it was going on a little bit before that. And it was hard to be able to cope with. So at that time, I wasn't really like doing any drugs. I never have done any like hardcore drugs. I mean, if you want to call marijuana one, then call it that. But that's literally the only drug that I've, touched. And so basically, my depression just stemmed from relationship issues and like the patterns that I was like making with these relationships and things, and friendships and family, as well as like personal issues I was going through and things like that. And it was just a lot. It was like one of those things where depression is not really made that important when it really should be, because people don't realize, I don't think, what depression really is. So I'm definitely going to put that definition at the top in front of me and let you all know what that is. But while you are reading that and listening to me, I just want you to know that we all suffer from it, like I said, and it's definitely something that can be cured and stuff. It's not like a disease, but it can take control over your life if you do not get the help that you need for it, basically. So with that being said, so like I was saying, I was going through depression. It kind of hit me more so like when I lost my virginity and stuff, and things just took a turn for the worse. And I just kind of regretted that I even lost my virginity to the person that it was too, and things like that. But it's over with now. I can't take it back, and I've just been going on with my life. But I think my depression really hit hard, even though it started maybe around the time that I lost my virginity. But once I had graduated from high school and stuff and I moved away and things. And then I moved to where I'm at now, and I met the person that I was dating for 3.5 years, that I discussed my ex in the video, if you saw, about admitting myself into the mental facility, where I discussed our relationships. But I feel like it hit hard then. I was literally in my first year of college, and I met him and stuff, and things were just, it's a lot of chaos. It was just a lot of overwhelming stress that on top of my schoolwork, that was just unnecessary stress. And I just was like, I can't deal. It was taking a toll on me because I was feeling like I could not express myself fully and things like that. And so, as time progressed with the relationship, the depression that was always like there, but it was just pushed away to the side, got the best of me. And eventually it just started flowing out more and more. I would become depressed. I would become in a dark state where I just didn't want to do anything. I would lose motivation and drive to even go to school some days, or even want to get out the bed. I would eat my emotions away. Like, eating was like a way of me dealing and coping with my emotions that I was going through. I would cry my ass off. I would get angry. I would do so many things and still feel the same way, and things like that. And then it ended up being where I got to this really dark place, and I ended up in a mental facility. But before I got to the mental facility, it was still one of those things where it was like I didn't want to let anybody know that I was like feeling that down, that dark. And a lot of times we don't let these people know, but we want them to know, and maybe we're telling them, but we're not really explaining truly what we're feeling, what we need help on, and things like that, because we don't want to become, or we don't want to seem so vulnerable, or we don't want them to judge us or make fun of us, or whatever the case might be. And so we just keep bottling those feelings up. We feel like these people won't understand, even though they're supposed to be like this with us. And so, or they make you feel like they're not gonna understand, or not gonna care. And so we bottle these things up until we hit a breaking point. And so that's basically what it was. And so then I ended up in the mental facility, and things were, really good. I got into a good place where I learned a lot of things about myself that I did not realize before. I learned some things that I might have been doing in the relationship that I never really took into consideration at the time of the relationship going on. And so I was able to acknowledge them and apologize for, my actions and stuff. And even once I got out, I was good, but I still had that feeling of, I still had that sense of love. That love for him was real strong. And I just was trying to still try to make things work. I was like not trying to let go, basically. I was having trouble letting go. And so then when I did discover weed, it was not then, it was like high school. But I never really just mess around with it as much until like I was going through the whole process and stuff with him. And so then I kind of got on it a little heavy and stuff. I was like I was smoking a lot. I was drinking every now and then. I was abusing my anxiety medicine, and it was just bad. I've had so many, even before him, and my depression, when it had first started, I had so many suicidal attempts. I never really spoke on really to that many people, but I had so many suicidal attempts, and moments where I just felt like the drugs that I was taking or doing were going to, like the the prescribed drugs I was taking were going to make me feel better. But a lot of people do not realize that when we take these drugs, whether they're prescribed or they're, you know, narcotics, or if they're things, illegal drugs that weren't prescribed to us, or things like that, or we're smoking weed, or so that we can get a euphoria and not feel what we were feeling. We're drinking so that we don't feel. We're suppressing these emotions, but we're not dealing with them. We're just pushing them down even more, like a trash can that's full and you're continuously putting things on top of it, even though it's overflowing and it literally can't take anymore. So once we get to the point where we can't take anymore, things start to, you know, turn out of control even more, because we have not dealt with the original problem at hand. And so I did have a personal incident where I was out with some friends from work, and it was a cookout, and I had a glass of wine. I think I only took like one Lexapro, one or two of my Lexapros, and they were a very small dosage. But I would take like, they were only 10 milligrams, but I would take like, some days I wasn't abusing them. I was just feeling like they weren't working, but it was really just because I wasn't taking it consistently, and so I would take, instead of 10, I might take 20. I may take like 20 milligrams instead of just the 10 milligrams. Or if instead of 20 milligrams, I might take 30. But sometimes I wouldn't go no past 30 because, you know, I don't know. So, I think that day I took like 20 milligrams of it, and I had a little wine while I was helping them cook. And then I had a piece of an edible that was laced with Xanax and something else. I can't remember. It was something else was in it. I cannot remember what. But maybe if I remember, I'll put it onto the. If I remember, I'll put it onto the. I'll put it up here, around here somewhere. But so it was laced, and I freaked out. Like, I was in the middle of cooking, and then I kind of felt lightheaded, so I was like, I'm gonna just go sit down on the couch. And so when I sat down on the couch, it was like everything went to shit. And if you've ever seen the movie Get Out, when he's sitting in the chair and he's like, this is a sunken place, I was in a sunken place. And so it was crazy. I felt like I was in a roller coaster, on a roller coaster. It was a bunch of different colors going around, and it was just a bunch of bullshit. Okay, and so I ended up throwing up, like throwing my guts up for like, I don't even know how long, because I was under the influence, but it felt like I was throwing up for so long. And they was like, when I got done, and I kept slipping like in and out of consciousness, and I kept slipping in and out of consciousness. And then when I would slip back into consciousness, I was like hearing people, like they would either be laughing or something like that, the people that were around, and they was like, whoa man, you all right? And then like they was like, you were ready to, you know, they was like, you want to go take a shower because you're drenched and your throw up and shit, and it's on the floor and stuff. And then they was just like, come on, let's go, because you brought clothes over here anyway. So they helped me, they put me in the shower and stuff, but I was like self-conscious about them helping me, because I'm like, I know y'all, but I don't know y'all, you know. And so I'm so paranoid, I can't even fully bathe, because I'm sitting here on this side and this side of myself looking, trying to figure out, is somebody gonna come up in here and do something to me. And so then I get out the shower or whatever, and I went to go lay down, but then my body started shaking uncontrollably, and I just like, I could not deal. Like, it was like so bad that I was like in the bed going like this, and I couldn't, like, it was crazy. And so then I finally, when they came back in the room to check on me, and they saw, they was like, hey, hey, come on, what's going on, what's going on? And I was just like, call the police, call my parents, call somebody, goddamn. Like, I don't understand why y'all still sitting here. So then they was like, okay. And so I heard one of them say, they was gonna call the police. They was like, hey, call the police. And then they was like, okay, calling now and stuff. And then they went to get me some water or whatever, and I was drinking that, but it was almost like I was drinking it like I was drowning. And so it was just crazy. And then apparently, I'm telling you what I remember from my incident, because it's still a blur to me. But so then I was put in a car to ride around, thinking I'm about to go to the hospital or something, but never ended up at the hospital. Just kept getting drove around. And so I'm still going in and out of consciousness at this point, and I'm trying to figure out where I'm at, what's going on, why I'm still not at the hospital. But we've stopped, and it looks like we're in the middle of nowhere, but it's really, we're in the area of in between Shelby Farms and stuff. So it's just a bunch of trees and then the road. But I didn't really focus on that. And so I'm like, where are we at? And one of the girls, she was in the driver's seat driving, and she was on the phone, and she was talking to somebody from the house, and I just kept saying, where are we at, where are we at? And the whole time that I'm saying it, I'm trying to, it's like, push myself every time I come back into consciousness to figure out what I need to be doing so that I can get the help I need. But when I would slip back unconscious, it was like my whole timeline of my life from now to before I was even born was flashing into my eyes. Like, I literally, from before I was born, before people were even on earth. Okay, I'm going all the way back to where we as humans did not even exist yet, and it was probably nobody but God. Like, that's the only person that was on the earth. It was just like, it was like sucking me back in all the way to the point where it was light lit out, and then it just like zoomed me all the way to the point where it was darkness, and I didn't see nothing. Like, my life had been taken away from me, basically. And it was like God trying to, like, I felt like it was God trying to tell me, you see what you are taking advantage of, what I have given you. You're saying I'm letting you go through all of what you have experienced so far, all the way to where I'm going to take your life away right now, like you never even existed, almost. I don't know. And so then I got back into consciousness, and we was back at the house in the driveway, and they was like, you okay and stuff. And when we had bagged out the driveway to even go to the quote-unquote hospital that we never got to, I remember one of them saying, they're going to ask you what she took. They're going to ask you where she got it from. They're going to ask you this, and that. It was like the person was prepping the person in the driver's seat what to say to the police and the people at the hospital. And I actually had a premonition days before this incident even happened of that person leaning up against the car saying that. But I couldn't see who was in the car at the time, and so I didn't know who they was talking to. I could only just see them. And then I realized when it was that time, it's me. This is happening to me. So it was like deja vu, knowing that this was going to happen, but I didn't know who it was going to happen to. And it just so happened to happen to me. So we got back to the house and stuff, and then we basically went back in the house, and I'm like, what are we doing? So then they were trying to get me back in the shower again to see if that was going to help, but I didn't really want to go. But so my shirt was taken off, and then they was kind of like walking me to the bathroom, but then I ran snatched away from them and like ran out the bathroom thing and into the hallway. I had to go all the way out to the front door, and they was like, no, no, stop, or whatever. And I guess they was trying to tell me I didn't have no shirt on, but I didn't care, because at that point I was conscious, and I was like, I got to get the fuck up out of here, because they are trying to kill me or something, because they still ain't called no cops. Ain't no cop showed up. Nobody has shown up. So this is crazy. So like I said in Get Out, when he was he had to put the cotton in his ear so he would not go back unconscious. That's kind of how I felt. So then, they was trying to block me from getting out the door, but I socked the shit out of somebody. Like, I just was like, get up out my way, because y'all got the wrong one, okay? So then I ran out the house, running down the street. I ain't got no shirt on, and I'm just screaming for help, help. And then they like pulled up trying to get me in the car, and people was outside looking, and nobody was helping at first. And then they saw them trying to get me in the car, and I was like, no, no, help, like somebody help me, somebody help me. And so that dude was on paper, so he was just like, I can't be fucking with you. So, and he had just got off of work, so he didn't even know what had just happened at the house. He had just so happened to see me on his way home from work, and was like, what the fuck? So he was like, nah, I'm gonna have to just leave your ass out here, because I'm on papers and I can't be getting caught up on whatever the fuck them people in that house is doing. So he fled the scene, and then I passed out. I went back unconscious in somebody's yard, and they called the cops by then. But with that whole thing, that's all I'm going to go into detail about. I ended up at the hospital, and then I was unconscious for 3 days before I gained my consciousness back. And then it's still, once I gained my consciousness back, it was like I was in a daze for like 2 days, 2 more days after that. So it was chaotic, it was crazy, it was overwhelming, it was very overwhelming, because I had a lot of stuff going on at the time, and I was thinking about the fact like I still was going through the emotions with me and his breakup, and then people trying to figure out what happened, what made me go off the wall like that, what is this, why would they do that, why I ended up having to go to court because of the fact that I had something in my bag that got me a misdemeanor basically, but it got cleared up and things like that. But I say all of this to say drugs are not worth it. They're not worth risking your life. They're not worth using them to suppress emotions that were never made to be suppressed. You have to realize that even though you're taking a minute to be vulnerable and talk to somebody about these emotions that you've been suppressing down, you are strong for being able to acknowledge that you need some type of help in processing these emotions and things that you might be going through in life. And so don't ever think that drugs are the answer to solving those emotions or things that you might be going through, because they're only quick fixes. They last for a little bit. They make you feel good in the meantime, at the moment in time, but you still have to deal with those same problems and issues and emotions the minute that you're back in your normal state. And so a lot of people don't think about that when they do drugs or use drugs, period, to make them feel better or make them feel like they don't have anything else in the world to think about. Nothing else matters. It only doesn't matter at that moment. But when you come back, it's definitely there. And it actually has even been proven to hit harder after the fact. And a lot of people don't realize that. And so it's better to be able to process those things out instead of holding them in, basically. That was a lot. I do not want this video to be really long, but that was my experience with drugs and depression. That was recent. It was probably like a year ago now. About a year ago, about 2 years ago now. And I still think about that all the time, and it's just something crazy. Like, I would never want anybody to have to deal with that. And I just thought that it would be good to share this story to others in case they might have had a family member go through something like that and almost lose their life, or have to deal with even more consequences on top of their actions after the fact of using some type of drug. You know, instead of dealing with emotions straight on. And people that are dealt with that, or are dealing with it at this moment in time, and feel like they have nobody. There's so many people out there that you can talk to, even if you don't want to talk to immediate family or friends, or relationships you might be going through, and you feel like you can't talk to your significant other about it. But you are more than welcome to talk to a therapist, or call a hotline when you feel like you just need somebody to talk to that's not connected to the situation. And so I think that we need to spread more awareness on depression and drugs, as well as mental health all together as a whole. And so I appreciate everybody for listening to this, and don't forget, like I said, to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell so you can always be notified when I post different things. And don't forget to send me content suggestions of what you want me to talk about, or any questions you might have. If you want me to elaborate on some things even more, just let me know. And stay tuned for my project coming out February 1st. And I look forward to talking to you guys in the next video.